Here's something nobody warns you about retirement. It doesn't change people, it reveals them. Think about it. For 40 years, a job is basically a lid on the jar. It keeps everybody roughly contained. You show up, you behave, you keep the weird stuff mostly to yourself because there's a performance review coming and Brenda in HR is always watching. Work quietly sands every one of us into a socially acceptable shape. Then one day the lid comes off. No boss, no schedule, no reason left to pretend. And whatever that person actually is, deep down at the core, comes bubbling straight up to the surface for the rest of us to enjoy. And I do mean the rest of us, because here's the part they leave out of the retirement brochure. You are about to spend a truly astonishing amount of time around other retirees. At the coffee shop at 9 a.m. on a Tuesday, in the HOA meeting, on the walking trail, in the quick checkout line that is somehow never ever quick. So, consider this your official heads up, because the second you learn the 9 types, you start seeing them everywhere. And, fair warning, you're going to spot 1 or 2 of them in the mirror, and I mean that affectionately. Recognizing yourself early is the whole trick to not becoming one of the cautionary tales. Let's dive in. Type number 1, the Spreadsheet Samurai. You will know this retiree within about 90 seconds because they will tell you their safe withdrawal rate before they tell you their last name. This person has a spreadsheet, and that spreadsheet has tabs, and those tabs have sub-tabs. They have modeled their retirement out to the year 2061, accounting for inflation, sequence of returns risk, 3 different tax scenarios, and the statistical probability of their own death, which, and I cannot stress this enough, they find delightful to talk about at dinner. You ask them, how's the weather looking this weekend? And somehow you end up learning about Roth conversion ladders. Now, and this is important, I actually love this retiree because the Spreadsheet Samurai did the homework. They know their number. They know how much they can pull out each year without setting the whole thing on fire. That's real. Most people retire on a vibe and a prayer, and this person retired on a model. The only downside, they can never fully relax. They'll be on a beautiful beach in Maui, and instead of watching the sunset, they're mentally recalculating whether that Mai Tai just blew their monthly discretionary budget. The lesson here, though, is a good one. A plan beats a panic every single time. You don't need 17 tabs, but you do need to know your number, how much you can safely spend so your money outlives you instead of the other way around. The samurai just took it a little far, like printed it out and laminated it far. Type number 2, the Pickleball Evangelist. Something happens to a certain percentage of retirees. They discover pickleball, and it's not a hobby, it's a conversion, it's a religious experience. They come back from that first game absolutely transformed, with the wide, glowing eyes of someone who has just discovered the meaning of life, and the meaning of life was a little perforated plastic ball. This retiree now owns 4 paddles. 4! They have opinions on paddle cores. They wear the little visor. They have a pickleball crew, and that crew has a group chat, and that group chat is more active than the stock market. And they will recruit you. Oh, they will recruit you. You can't mention that your knee feels a little stiff without them saying, you know what fixed my knee? Pickleball. You could tell this person you just got out of the hospital, and they'd go, perfect, light cardio. Let's get you on the court Tuesday. Now, look, I tease, but the Pickleball Evangelist actually cracked one of the biggest codes in retirement, and it's got nothing to do with money. It's social connection. The research on this is brutal and clear. Loneliness in retirement is a health risk on par with smoking. People don't just retire from their jobs, they accidentally retire from their entire social life, because work was their social life. The Evangelist figured out that you have to go build a new one on purpose. They just happened to build theirs on a court with a chain link fence and a scoring system nobody fully understands. 0 to 2, second serve. Type 3, the Coupon Colonel. This retiree has, conservatively, more than $1 million, and they will drive 25 minutes across town to save 40 cents on a can of beans. The Coupon Colonel spent an entire career being told to save money, and now they cannot turn it off. It's not a strategy anymore, it's a personality. It's practically a nervous system. They reuse aluminum foil. They know exactly which day the grocery store marks down the rotisserie chickens. They have a drawer, you know the drawer of plastic bags inside other plastic plastic bags, a bag turducken passed down through generations. You go out to lunch with this person and the check comes and they get real quiet and start doing math with their eyebrows. Here's the thing, and I say this with total love because I respect a saver. The coupon colonel often has the exact opposite problem from the person you'd expect. They're not going to run out of money. They're going to leave money behind, a lot of it. They spent their whole life being terrified of the wrong thing because there's a version of frugality that's a superpower and there's a version that's a cage. And somewhere along the way, the colonel stopped asking, "Can I afford this?" and started assuming the answer was always no. Even when they'd already won the game. You saved it for a reason. At some point, the reason is now. Rinse the foil, though. That part I respect. Type 4, the Lamborghini Grandpa. Now, the exact opposite, the polar opposite, the coupon colonel's mortal enemy. This retiree read one book called Die with Zero, and interpreted it very aggressively. Their motto is, "You can't take it with you," and they have decided to prove it in real time, in front of witnesses. 65 years old, brand new convertible, a wardrobe that can only be described as Miami nightclub. They're taking flying lessons. They bought a boat, and the boat has a name, and the name is a pun. They're living like every single day is their last, which is beautiful and inspiring right up until you remember that statistically they've got 30 more years to fund. And you know what? Some of these folks did the math and they're totally fine. Genuinely. Good for them. They earned it, they're spending it, life is short, and I'd rather see this than a laminated spreadsheet. But some of them did not do the math. Some of them are treating a 401k like it's a slot machine with a guaranteed payout. And the tragedy of the Lamborghini Grandpa is that the party is amazing at 65 and gets very, very awkward at 84 when the account hits zero, but the heartbeat keeps going. The real lesson lives right in the middle, between the colonel and the grandpa. You should spend. You should enjoy this. You saved for the fun, not just the furnace bill. But there's a difference between spending with a plan and spending like the money can't run out. It can. It absolutely can. Great sunglasses, though. Type 5. The Snowbird. Every October, a great migration begins. Millions of retirees look at the sky, feel the first cold snap in their bones like some ancient instinct, and think one word: Florida. Or Arizona, somewhere the sun is aggressive and the early bird special starts at 4 p.m. The Snowbird has two of everything: 2 homes, 2 doctors, 2 sets of friends who don't know the other set exists. They know exactly which week to leave the north, the precise moment before the first snowfall, and they will not shut up about it every year. "Well, we'll be in Naples by then." "Yeah, Diane, we know, you mentioned it twice in the parking lot." They drive south in a car so packed you can't see out the back window, and they will make that drive in one day out of sheer stubbornness, fueled by gas station coffee and the pure adrenaline of avoiding a heating bill. And honestly, the Snowbird might be onto the smartest lifestyle play in the whole retirement game. Chasing 72 degrees year-round is not a bad life goal. That's arguably the point. The one thing I'll flag, because I have to be the money guy for a second, is that 2 homes means 2 of every expense. 2 property taxes, 2 insurance policies, and if one of those homes is in a hurricane zone, insurance is a spicy word right now. So run the numbers before you become a bird. But if the numbers work, fly south, my friend. Fly south and never look back at the shovel. Type number 6, the Grandkid ATM. They love their grandchildren with the fire of 1,000 suns, and they will express that love in the only truly universal language: cash. College fund? Covered. Braces? Handled. New phone? Well, we can't have little Braden with the cracked screen, can we? Little Braden is 9. Little Braden did not need the Pro model. Little Braden got the Pro model. The Grandkid ATM shows up to every birthday like an armored truck. They're funding soccer, dance, the tutor, the other tutor, and a car for a 16-year-old that is somehow nicer than their own car. And they do it with the biggest, warmest smile, because to them, this is the whole point of the money. This is why they saved it. And you know what? There's something genuinely beautiful about that. Watching your money create joy in real time while you're alive to see it. That's a gift the coupon colonel will never let themselves have. But you knew there was a but. I'm contractually obligated. The Grandkid ATM has to remember one rule. You cannot pour from an empty cup, and there is no financial aid for your own long-term care. So be generous, please be generous, but fund your own oxygen mask first. Then spoil little Braden. Just maybe not the Pro model. He's 9, Carol. Type number 7, the professional volunteer. This retiree quit their job, looked at all that beautiful free time stretched out in front of them, and thought, you know what I need? A boss. so they got 7 of them, none of whom pay. The professional volunteer cannot say no. It is physically impossible for them. Church committee? On it. Food bank? Running it. HOA board? President. The library needs someone to organize the used book sale, the animal shelter needs dog walkers, and the local theater needs someone to sell tickets on a Tuesday, and this person said yes to all of it out loud before the sentence was even finished. You try to make lunch plans with them, and they pull out a paper calendar, a physical paper calendar, and it looks like an air traffic control screen. They're somehow busier now than when they had an actual career. You'll ask, how's retirement treating you? And they'll laugh this exhausted little laugh and go, oh, I don't know how I ever found time to work. And here's the real talk, because this one's sneaky. On paper, the professional volunteer nailed it. They found purpose, they found community, they're needed. That's the whole ballgame, and it's genuinely wonderful. Volunteering is linked to lower rates of depression and, no joke, a longer life. But there's a version of this where I get to help quietly turns into I'm not allowed to rest, where every organization in a 15-mile radius has learned that you never say no, so they never stop asking. Serve, my friend. Just remember that no is a complete sentence. You retired from a job. Try not to accidentally hire yourself into 4 new ones. Type number 8, the kitchen table economist. This retiree now has 2 things they did not have before: unlimited free time and a very strong opinion about the Federal Reserve. The kitchen table economist watches the financial news all day. And they don't watch it to relax, they watch it like a sporting event and their team is losing and it's the referee's fault. They can tell you exactly what the market did today, what it should have done, and what they don't want you to know about any of it. They've got a folder of clipped articles, they can recite the inflation number to the decimal, they will call you specifically to warn you that a big correction is coming, and they've been calling to warn you about that same correction for, 11 consecutive years now. And I gotta be honest, as the money guy, this one hits close to home, because the kitchen table economist is me if I'm not careful. Here's the real danger though, and it's a serious one. All that noise makes people do things. It makes them panic sell when the market dips and sit out when it recovers. And the data is painfully clear on this. The investors who check their accounts the most tend to earn the least because they can't stop tinkering. The market rewards patience and punishes the fidgety. The best retirees I know built a plan, then stopped watching. They turned off the noise. They let the thing work. Turn off the TV, Frank. Go play pickleball. Type 9, the Zen Master. And finally, the one you actually want to be. You almost don't notice this retiree at first because they're not doing anything loud. They're not evangelizing pickleball. They're not warning you about the Fed. They're not showing you a spreadsheet or a convertible. They're just content. Genuinely, deeply, quietly content in a way that's almost suspicious. And when you finally sit down and talk to them, you realize they quietly did all of it right. They saved enough, but they also spend it without guilt on the stuff that actually matters to them. They've got a plan, but they're not a slave to it. They give to the grandkids, but they funded themselves first. They found their purpose, a garden, a cause, a craft, the grandkids, whatever it is, so they never had that "who am I now" crisis. They built a real social life on purpose, and they turned off the financial news years ago and never looked back, and their portfolio is thriving precisely because they left it alone. The Zen Master figured out the secret that took me way too long to understand. Retirement isn't a math problem. It's a life problem that happens to have some math in it. The money is the fuel. It was never the destination. And once you've got enough fuel, the only real question left is, where do you actually want to drive? That's the retiree to become. Not the loudest one at the barbecue, the calmest one. Now, be honest with yourself. You saw someone you know in every single one. Your neighbor, your uncle, your golf buddy, and maybe, just maybe, you saw a little bit of you. And that's completely fine, because here's the truth underneath. There's no wrong way to do this as long as you did the 2 things that actually matter. Plan for the money and plan for the meaning. Nail both and you get to be the Zen Master. Skip one and you end up back at Home Depot explaining lumber to strangers, which, again, not the worst outcome. If this made you think or made you text this to the exact family member who is the coupon colonel, do me a favor and hit that like button. And if you're not subscribed yet, come on, get subscribed so I can keep helping you build the retirement you actually want.
Drop a comment and tell me, which type are you, and which type is driving you absolutely crazy? No judgment. Okay, a little judgment. I'll see you in the next one.